Hey, it's Michael with a Y, and you're listening to My Reality Recap, the only podcast where I get to talk about all of my feelings towards the shows that I love. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about the semifinals on Dancing with the Stars, who was crowned the next drag superstar on RuPaul's Drag Race, and who was named the sole survivor on Survivor Brains, Brawn, and Beauty. I hope you're ready for this, so put your glasses on and get ready to put your purse first with me. Welcome back to another episode of hashtag MYRR, My Reality Recap, and I am actually joined in studio with one of my new best friends. Yeah, I called you one of my best friends. That's a big thing for me. Oh, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, and gays, this is Harb.
Hi, everybody. I'm Harb. Harb. Actually, first and name are the same thing. It's true. And Michael with a Y is my new friend.
Yes. I just moved to Detroit. Some of you guys know this from listening to my podcast, and he has been like my spirit animal and guide to the whole city. He is just... I'm so happy I met him, because without him, I feel like I would still be like sitting in my room crocheting all the time. So thanks, Harb.
Oh, no, I'm super excited.
And yes, he has been the really buff guy on my Instagram lately. We did Topless Tuesday a couple of weeks ago. He is very in shape, so boys, girls, gays, whatever... Make sure to go to my Instagram page and see these pictures of Harb and go to his page, and you guys will just be very happy. He can be your hashtag MCM, Man Crush Monday.
Oh, I'd be honored.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just watch. You're going to get all these like requests now for Man Crush Monday, and you're going to be like, oh,
I don't think so.
Hey, you say that, and then just watch. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Okay, so give my fans just a little bit about yourself. Like, what's something interesting about you that people don't know when they first see you?
Okay, so number one, as I mentioned, my first and last name are the same thing, and that is true. It's Harb. I am also a doctor.
Ooh, what kind of doctor?
I'm a heart doctor.
Oh.
So I go around mending people's hearts, is what I like to say. And so that's been pretty fun and interesting, but at the same time, I kind of live this double life, and I'm a crazy bitch by night, so...
Oh, what do you mean by crazy bitch?
I just have a good time.
Like you...
Party hard. You know how they say you work hard, you work hard, you party hard. So I embody that kind of, that motto.
Okay, when you said crazy bitch, I didn't know if you were like a stalker crazy or if you were like party crazy.
No.
So I'm glad you're the party crazy.
No.
That's much better.
No, I'm not a stalker.
Okay, so this podcast is all about reality TV shows, and everybody knows what my favorite reality TV show is. So what are some of your favorite reality TV shows?
Well, I've been really diving into reality TV shows, and no one should be ashamed of watching reality TV shows.
Yes.
Michael with a Y would, of course, support that statement as well,
Everyone
too.
should watch it all the time.
Yes.
It's great.
So I, of course, love RuPaul's Drag Race.
Woot woot.
And I also like Face Off, and I will watch all kinds of trash TV, I have to admit, like all the Housewives shows.
See, I haven't gotten
Project
into
Runway. I'll watch all that stuff. I know. Well, I mean, you gotta think really hard at work, and so then I don't want to think at all when I get home. And this is what has happened to my life. So there's that.
Okay, so what show would you want to be on? If you could be on any reality show, like let's do a competitive one.
I think.
It's
a competitive one. Well, I was just gonna say I was gonna make it's gonna call the House Husbands of Detroit and be make my own reality TV show.
You could do
feel like
that.
that would be really fun.
But wait, you'd have to have like a husband though first.
I know, but I guess I could have like
you could be the single
someone.
one.
Yeah, I could be the single one. Single prude whore. I don't know. I'll have to figure. I have to figure out my character still, but
there's time.
I know because there's time. There's time, but it would be really exciting. So everyone should tune in when that happens.
And then once you have your own reality show, you're going to become so famous that they're going to want to put you on Dancing with the Stars, and you'll be able to be on it too. Who was the lady who was just on? She was on one of the Real Housewives, and she was just on Dancing with the Stars. I don't remember her name.
Oh, the old woman. Oh my God, we should both know this because she's from California, from the Real Housewives of from Real Housewives of
Atlanta. She was Atlanta, I think.
No,
I don't remember what she was. She was just got off. She was on.
We're
actress.
seriously both a disgrace right now.
What?
We're both a disgrace.
It's okay. She's eliminated. Doesn't matter. But you could be on the same thing. You could just
this is so funny.
be on the.
Yeah, no, that's true. But maybe I was going to do Late Night with Dr. Harb. That's another reality idea show
which I will produce once I win Survivor Big Brother.
I know. Hair flip.
Giving funds.
That'll be really fun to do.
Yeah,
we'll work on that.
We have a lot coming, but because I mentioned you being on Dancing with the Stars, because you are in shape, like all these backup dancers and everything.
I'm really excited.
We're going to start talking about Dancing with the Stars right now and just jump right into this podcast. So we're down to the semifinals on Dancing with the Stars. So they did it with 5 people this time. And so the first round of the competition was the trio round. And so Paige and Mark, which Paige is the boxer or not WWE, she's some type of fighter. Her and Mark were paired with Alan, and they did a peacock professional samba dance. And whenever I say peacock, I think of Katy Perry's peacock, peacock, cock. And they were like doing all this thing, and they were all like shirtless and pretty. And what did you think of Paige and Mark?
Well, you know, I have to be honest with you, Michael, with why. I'm not an avid follower of this show. However...
That's okay. All the old ladies and moms and my listeners are.
No, this is great. I mean, I still saw it, and so this is like a totally objective observation of it. But no, I thought they were really good. They were really fun, and I loved their little like decorations, and it was good. I will say, which you haven't gotten to, we'll get to it when we talk about Niall and Peta. But Paige and Mark were good. They were good. I don't have anything like specifically good or bad to say, but they were in a reasonable range. Like I'm not totally impressed. I'm not disappointed, but they're in a deserving spot.
Right, and they actually got a perfect 30 out of 30 for this dance, so congrats to them. Wanya and Lindsay were paired with Whitney. They did a paso doble, and it was powerful, and and paso doble is the one where if you're a dancer, it's kind of like a cape fighting thing, you know, like you want to like, full fighting, you know, the red cape. But they use the cape as their dresses, and it's all fighting. That's what the dance they did. And he was back, and Wani had a bad week last week, but they came back and got a 30 out of 30. Mm-hmm. Now we can talk a little bit about Niall DeMarco. And because they did 2 rounds, so we get to talk about Niall twice today on this podcast. I'm so excited. So Niall is paired with Peta, and they had Jenna come along, and they did a jive, and they did like a cute little 60s diner-themed thing.
Yeah.
And Jenna, when she walked into the dance room, she was in awe of Niall, and she was like, oh, Niall, you're just, like, so cute, and she couldn't, like, get off of him, and she was like, you just got, like, the cute face, and this hair, and this chest hair everywhere, and I'm just like, yeah.
Wait, are you talking about this was part of their duo, or this was actually, before
they were talking behind-the-scenes stuff?
Oh.
You just saw the dances.
I know,
They did a little thing, and she was like, Niall's just so dreamy, and I'm just like, yes, this Jenna gets it.
Oh.
Like, do you like guys with chest hair?
What?
Do you like guys with chest hair? Because I am like madly in love with
Niall. Yeah. Well, you know, the thirst is real. I'll take anything I can get these days.
You'll take anything you can get.
But no, I mean the hair without hair, that's fine. He's a handsome guy. So.
He's so pretty.
Yeah.
He's so pretty.
He's a handsome guy. I will say, when you first told me about him, I was like, who is this man? But after watching him dance, I'm.
And he has a good butt now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's a good everything.
I was gonna say he's good. He's very talented.
And did you know he's fluid? He plays with both men and women.
No, I didn't know that.
No, you do. So we have a shot.
That's funny.
When he came out, it was at the top model.
At
the top model, someone was like, "So Niall, what way do you swing?" And he's like, "I'm fluid." And I'm just like, "Oh shit, I have a shot with this man. I have to learn sign language so I can tell him like what to do to me and just have at it."
He's probably good with his hands, so that's it. At least you have that going for him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Well.
Okay, so back to the dance. Back to the dance a little bit.
Sorry, okay,
so they did this jive, and it was very fun. It was very flirty. I mean, he's always did dances where he was like serious and like raw and passionate, but he had to be like super cute and like happy and all over the place. And he did get out of sync a couple of times, which the judges mentioned. But doing a jive with 2 other dancers, I mean, and he can't hear the music, so it's bound to happen. But did you have any thoughts on?
No, I thought it was super good. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to follow the earlier dances, but I was really impressed. He was tossing those girls left and right with his left hand and his right hand, and it seemed like it was pretty, overall pretty synchronized, and they were moving around and hitting the beats, even though, like you said, he can't hear anything. So I was, I became one of his fans for sure after seeing him perform with 2 ladies. So
Hell yeah! Mm-hmm. And last week you missed it. He performed with a man. They did a little thing, and
they do that on TV now.
What? It was the very first time on the show. It was a group dance.
Yeah.
And what they did was it was him and his partner and another Jodie Sweetin from Full House.
Yeah.
They switched partners for a second of it, so the girls were together. So she danced with a girl, and he danced with a guy, and he was the girl spot. Like he got picked up and everything. Like he was the girl, and I was like, oh no.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yes, you're gonna have to like go back and watch it.
I might have to go back and.
And they were both shirtless. Okay, I need to focus.
The girl and the guy?
No, just Niall.
Oh.
Niall and the other man. They were both shirtless, and they were like dancing together. Oh, I need to calm my tits. Okay, so Niall and Peta ended up getting a 27 out of 30 because they were a little out of sync. Ginger and Val danced with Arden, and they did a paso doble, and the entire time they were dancing, I was like, holy shit, this is fierce. They brought it, and it did get kind of sloppy a little bit because she was super, like, into it. like the judges didn't know if she's like too into her facial expression or
You're
whatever.
talking about the Trio Paso thing?
Yeah,
the
like
thing?
Ginger.
I mean, I wasn't actually impressed with that. I was bored with it.
You were bored with
I
that
mean, I
one?
didn't like it. I mean, it was good. I mean, she was doing it. I didn't feel like there was crisp, like when she was moving and she was not. I feel like she wasn't hitting the beats exactly. What did the judges say about that?
Well, they said that she was kind of out of sync a few times. And
Okay,
so,
yeah, that's what I felt too.
And so they got a 27 out of 30, so
Okay.
the same score as now. So they got taken down a notch.
Yeah.
But did you know that Ginger is from Michigan?
No. Where?
She, I think, grew up in Traverse City.
Uh-huh.
And she was first got on TV on Flint, Michigan. Like she was on the Flint news station.
Yeah.
And then she got picked up for ABC News, and she is now the weather lady for Good Morning America.
Oh, so that's her fame to claim then.
Yeah,
she's a weather lady.
Right, and so they did a whole segment on her of where she came from, and she was like, "Oh, I'm from Michigan." So that was the end of round 1. And so for the last round, they just did a normal dance with their partner. Okay. So the last dance we're going to talk about is Niall and Peta before we reveal who got eliminated. And so Niall's little segment thing, okay, this is kind of really embarrassing to me. So they did a little segment for Niall, and he was a math teacher, going to school to be a math teacher, and then he did an audition tape for America's Next Top Model, and then he got on, and in their little segment, they had Tyra Banks on it, and the creator of Top Model, and they're just talking about how Niall was so moving when he, like, came in for his audition, and, like, he is fine as hell, but this kid has something special about him, and it was just making my heart melt the entire time they're talking about him and showing this old footage, and his family was, like, signing in the little videos, saying stuff about Niall, and then he went to go do his dance, and for, like, 8 bars or whatever the dance, he put a blindfold on. So he was dancing without... He was, like, deaf and blind. And some of the professionals were like, I can't even dance with my eyes closed. Like, it's hard for me to focus. And so Niall challenged himself, and he did it. And it was, like, one of the best dances that I have seen on the show in a long time. And I don't know if it's because I've just been, like, emotional lately or what's going on, because, like, I saw a puppy last week and I started crying. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. But, like, after he danced, he got a perfect 30 out of 30, and I was so happy for him. Like, I started crying, and I was like, what is happening to me?
Why are you so
It wasn't, like, it wasn't sobbing. It was, like, tears going down my face, like, happy.
You were, like, crying before this podcast. I mean, you need to control yourself.
When I think about him, sometimes my eyes start watering like they are right now. I just get so happy.
He did a great job.
And, like, my friends are like, Michael, you need to meet him. And I'm like, I know, I just want to give him a hug.
I don't even know. You'd probably be speechless. I feel like you'd just be like a deer in headlights.
I know. I'd be like, what do I do? I don't know anything. I just want to give, like, look at me. My eyes are watering right now. This is bad. I got something going on with me.
I know you're on your period right now, but so he did an amazing job. I think between this and that trio that he did with those 2 women, like I said, I was totally sold. And I love the song. What song is this that they were playing on? Do you remember the song that they were playing on?
It was called Misunderstood or something.
It was great. I
can find it and let you know.
No, it was great.
But, yeah, so Niall was great, and they actually did 2 people eliminated this week. So the 2 dancers and stars that were eliminated were Antonio and Sharna, and Wanye and Lindsay. So for the final 3, we have Niall, Paige, and Ginger, and I honestly think that it's going to be between Paige and Niall. I think they're the best 2. Like, Paige looks like a professional, but Niall has more of, like, the story to go along with it. Yeah. And I just don't know how they're going to go.
He's turning to America's sweetheart now.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, I know. Oh. And he plays to both sides, too, apparently.
I know. Everybody can just have a piece of Niall.
I know, now everyone can get on board with it.
Everyone can get a vote. Oh. And so I'm just really nervous. And last week I was afraid he was going to make the semifinals because I hadn't voted for him all this season.
Yeah.
And I actually voted this week.
Oh.
So I'm hoping he wins.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, at least he made it to the finals and he was on every episode.
Good.
And so that means he made it onto every episode of My Reality Recap Season 2, because Season 1 was Top Model when he was on it.
Yeah.
So I have not had an episode...
Without him.
Without him?
I know. What are you going to do without him on, like, next season?
He's going to have to go on The Amazing Race or something.
I know.
Or go on Survivor or Big Brother. I have to, like, have him do something so I can just keep talking about him.
I was going to say, we're going to, like, draw him in
I can't interview him.
You can or can't?
I can't.
Why?
Not over the phone.
Well, I don't know what to do to help you out on that situation.
So I have to figure out something to do to keep talking about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Dancing with the Stars. Now we're going to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race, because they crowned the next Drag Race superstar this week. So we're down to the final 3. We have Bob the Drag Queen, Naomi Smalls, and Kim Chi. And I kind of think that the finale episode is kind of boring, because all it is like a recap, and they do a little thing and talk to each of the queens. So what they did is they each of the finalists performed an original song, and then they talked to eliminated queens, and then they said who was Miss Congeniality. So before we start announcing the winners and everything, What is like your thoughts of this whole season?
Oh, well,
because they recapped kind of all of it.
At least now I'm much more comfortable talking about this show because I'm a RuPaul fanatic.
A RuPaulaholic.
Yeah, like I'm mad.
Is that a word? Is that what people say, RuPaulaholic?
I don't know.
That sounds kind of good, doesn't it?
That sounds really good. That's like
We should get
RuPaulology from Willem.
We should get like shirts to say RuPaulaholic.
Oh, I know. Oh.
Let's start it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, it's trademark. Anyways, all my listeners.
Yeah, I know.
Can't take it.
Don't take it. Beanies and bow ties coming on his Etsy webpage. Okay, but that being said, anyway, so I thought it was good. Like this season number 1 was much better than season 7. I think everyone can agree with me on that. It was super fantastic. I think season 7 was more like focusing on like the superficial stuff, and now season 3 like went in a little bit deeper. It's much more than being skin. Deep. This was like to the heart, and you got to know Kim Chi and her struggle, and Bob.
They did like everybody they got to like know a little.
Yeah,
more.
You got to know them, and like you can see Bob and all of his like all of the protests that he would do back in the day, and then you can see Naomi and what she had to deal with, and all of her aspirations and dreams and things like that, and just you can get a sense of like if you work hard, you can make it. So
right.
I thought this season was much better than season 7. And I was happy with all of the 3 finalists. I would have been happy with all of them, and I was rooting for all of them. And I thought you mentioned when you first started that you didn't like the finale. How come you didn't like the finale?
No, I just don't like the way they set up the episode, or like how they have like their final 4 and they eliminate and they take a week off and then they go to the finale and it's like a reunion and finale.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
feel
this is like your first time seeing the finale? This is
no, I've watched these other seasons. This is my first season of watching the show live.
Yeah.
But when I would watch the other episodes, I would be so bored by it. I would be like, why aren't they like every other show where they have like a last challenge or something?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
no. It used to do that, like
a reunion.
Yeah. Seasons 1 through 3 they did, but then like now it's just gotten bigger and bigger, and I think it's just such a bigger statement nowadays with when they do the big huge show in Los Angeles. So I like it. I mean, they do every year it's a little bit different, but they have them all dance to, like you said, their own original song, and then ask them questions, and then ask the other queens questions, and stir up the mud a little, get the drama back into the show. But
okay, so we know who the final 3 are.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a final 4 for some weird reason, which one queen would you have wanted to be in the finals?
Well, I think it's really. I mean, I do think Chi Chi DeVayne was good, and so if there was a top 4, I think in good in the sense that she grew the most out of the season. I didn't even like her in the beginning. I didn't even want her to be a part of the show. I just wanted her to leave.
Because she was in the bottom early on.
She was in the bottom. Yeah, she was in the bottom once or twice. But she grew on me, and she did a much better job, and she really like absorbed all the information she could from her surroundings, and she was really warm at heart, And so she grew on me, and I think she deserved. She could have been in the top 4. I'm still happy with the top 3, but I think.
But I was saying if they expanded to a top 4 finale.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple surprises. Like I thought Thorgy would be higher up on there, and there was a few other ones that I thought might have made it a little bit further. Like even Acid Betty.
I thought Acid Betty and Thorgy would have been up there too.
Yeah, a little bit further along. I thought Derek Barry would have left a lot earlier. But that being said, at the end of the day, I was happy with the final 3. And I'm excited to find out who had won.
Okay, so before we announce who won, we're going to say who won Miss Congeniality.
Mm-hmm.
And the crown, or the title, went to Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Yes.
And I was very surprised because she was like a 4th boot.
I was not. I was not surprised at all. And I told you, I was like, this bitch is very, very nice. You can tell when someone says things and it comes from the heart. And anything she said, there was nothing malicious. Like, she would be like, if anything came across as mean from her, it didn't come from a bad place. Like, it was just a misunderstanding or a language barrier issue. Everything she said was kind and as compared to the other queens, she deserved it.
Okay, but are you going to point out what probably the main reason why the fans voted for her was?
Why?
She is struggling, or she is dealing with liver cancer.
Oh, right no, bitch. They decided that before we even knew that I didn't even know she was struggling with liver cancer until legitimately.
Okay, but I knew because as soon as she was eliminated, she posted on social media saying the day after she was eliminated, she went to the doctor and got diagnosed or whatever.
No, I don't think so.
All the hardcore fans... and I just stumbled upon it from #Instagay.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I don't think
the people knew about it.
I think the bitch is nice.
Yeah, she's nice, but I mean, I felt like if it was gonna be Miss Congeniality, it would have been.
Who did you want it to be?
I thought it was gonna be Thorgy. Like I thought hands down because when I was looking at polls and everything online,
Thorgy.
everybody like when Thorgy got eliminated, everybody was shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked as well too, but I don't think she was like the nicest one on the show by any stretch of the imagination. She just had a bad attitude, frankly. I mean, Thorgy had a bad attitude. I think she deserved to be along farther, but she just the way that she was acting with every single episode, she was poking fun. She was really, at times, even malicious. I mean, she was not Miss Congeniality at all. But I don't think you need to be Miss Congeniality to win the whole competition. But that being said, I disagree wholeheartedly with that. Michael with Y.
Okay, well,
all right. Well, anyways, I was right, so she won.
Okay, you're like, it's gonna be one of the Puerto Ricans, and then I was like, holy shit! Like, I can't believe it was.
Moving on.
But you were wrong with who you thought was gonna win the title.
Yeah, I see.
Because the actual winner or the next Drag Race superstar is
drumroll,
Bob the Drag Queen.
Yay.
And for all of you people who listens to my predictions episode way before the season even started, just as me reading these bios and seeing one clip, I was like, Bob is my favorite.
Yeah.
He will make it to the final 3, and then I hope he wins. Before seeing everything, and look, he did.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Bob was the time, like,
I know, but Bob was the favorite of the show. I mean, he was the favorite very early on, and so everyone sort of felt that he was going to definitely be in the top 3.
And he won so many challenges too, so I knew he was going to be in the end to begin with. As he kept winning them.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it would have just been. I think like the other people grew on us, like Kim Chi and that other drag queen as well, too, Naomi Smalls. They kind of grew. I was like that other skinny one. Yeah, they grew on you. But Bob was like consistently good. Like he was a great comedian. I mean, everyone has their weaknesses, so he definitely had weaknesses as well too. And the other people had strengths and weaknesses too. But I think since he had a consistent performance, he did a great job. He has a great attitude. He means well. He's good for the LGBT community. He could not represent like RuPaul's Drag Race and the LGBT community any better than that. So I think it was a good choice to have him be the winner.
I think so too. And the other thing that I thought was great was he has this thing going purse first, and the purse is first.
I know, that's so great. As I always say, I'm going to change that phrase and call it fan first, because now I'm like a fanaholic as well.
Oh yeah, he has, what are those fans called? What are they just fans?
Like a hand fan, like a
geisha fan.
You know? Yeah, like geisha hand fans. But yeah, no,
obsessed with them.
I have a new obsession.
He cracks them. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
crack a whip it?
You crack a fan. Crack the fan. So
Hashtag
yeah, that's like my new obsession. And Michael with Y forbid me from using it on this podcast, just FYI. But it's been fun. But that being said, I love Purse First. I love that motto. I love it. Just put yourself forward and show who you are, and if people like you, they like you. If they don't like you, then you can find a new set of friends. So it's just fantastic.
Okay, so I have one last thing to talk about with RuPaul's, and then we're going to move on to Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
But you had told me that when they tape so for the finale they do a taping of the show, and you had told me that they announce every drag queen as the winner. Mm-hmm. For the audience, and they don't really know who wins until they air the episode. And I was like, if they seriously do that, that is so stupid. Like, I was like kind of pissed that they would do that. And then I was like, I don't know if Harb is all the way right, because he just told me Kesha was going to be in Detroit, and he was totally wrong by
I did not tell you that, but go ahead.
Okay, you did.
No.
Anyways, and so I was like, I don't know. I was like right off the heels of this Kesha thing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they announced Bob as the winner, I get on Facebook. I woke up like at 4 a.m, and all of a sudden, Logo had posted Bob's actual reaction to being crowned the drag queen, and I was like, "Holy shit!" They seriously gypped them of their actual moment, and I think that is so lame.
I know. That's like it is.
It was so bad, but I'm so happy I got to see it because Bob's reaction, he got like down on his knees. He was so happy. I was like, that is what I needed.
Happy for him.
I was like, why can't they just show like that, have that moment, like Logo pay to have like a 10-second delay or something?
I know they can't do it. They can't afford it. They can't do it live. So I don't know. Maybe I bet you. I think it's going to be the 10th episode. The 10th. Because now we're at the season 8, season 10. Maybe it'll actually be live this time. But unfortunately, they do it for each queen. They say that each queen wins, so their reaction is not authentic, and then we get to see it.
So I was so happy because compared to what they showed on TV with Bob being excited, he was all doing like his whole purse first, but then seeing like when he actually won, you could just see the actual like human reaction.
That was really nice.
Like, I'm happy I got to see that, but I just kind of really bummed me out that they would do that, because every other reality TV show, they either tape it and show the actual winner, and they have like the actual thing, not announce every single person as the winner. So that's the only thing I don't like. It just seems like kind of fake. So I'm ready to start talking about Survivor because it ended, and now I have to go a couple months without my favorite reality TV show on TV. and you don't watch Survivor, and it's way too hard to try to explain to you what's going on.
I don't want to hear
So I think we're going to say goodbye to Harb right now.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining me, Harb.
Thanks for having me, Michael with a Y.
Oh, anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
How can all of my listeners find you on social media?
Well, I am on Instagram, and so it's harb.n.harb. You can find me there, add me, follow me, and I'll take a look at your pictures and follow you as well.
And we're going to take a cute picture as soon as I'm recording this, and we will throw it up on my Instagram. So if you have a hard time typing harb.n.harb on Instagram, you can just click on our picture and then follow him that way.
Yay.
But thanks again, Harb.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.
So Survivor ended this week, and they kind of threw in a twist for the audience as well as one last twist for the castaways, which I don't think any of us saw coming, but it made me a little excited to watch and now to recap the final episode of the season, because you all know Survivor is my favorite show out there, and the season just hasn't been good, and I'm just not going to say anything until I finish this recap. Okay, so it started out with the final four. We have Sydney, Aubrey, Michelle, and Ty, and they start out doing a reward challenge, and it is a reflection on some of the challenges they had to do in the past with a puzzle at the end, and the winner got like a protein shake and a meal to help them for their next immunity challenge, and Aubrey ended up winning, and she chose to take Sydney with her. So those ladies went back to camp and had like a fancy meal, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And basically everybody decided that if Michelle were to lose immunity, Michelle would be the one to have to go because she has built some good friendships with people on the jury, and she did nothing wrong really. So she is very likable and a jury threat in a way because she hasn't screwed anybody over. So that was always really talked about. Then they go to tribal council, or they go to the immunity challenge. And it's like an endurance challenge where they have to go and grab all these puzzle pieces, go back and forth up and down this big tower thing. It's more like the final challenges they do on Survivor, which is really hard, and it's just like really hard in your body. And at the end, there's like this hard puzzle, so that way you're completely exhausted and have to use your mind and create this thing. And Aubrey and Sydney Aubrey was like the front runner the entire time, and then Sydney and Ty were in the middle of the pack, and then Michelle was like super far behind the whole thing. And then they get to the puzzle part, and then Michelle can just like whip out this puzzle like super quick. And a couple episodes ago, she was really quick for the memorizing puzzle as well. And so she put the puzzle together, and she won immunity. So everybody's like, well, shit, that was our easy vote right there to get Michelle out. And it didn't work out. So Michelle was safe at tribal council, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And Sydney and Michelle decide they need to vote Aubrey out, and Aubrey and Ty decide they need to stick together and vote Sydney out. And that's because Sydney and Aubrey are basically kind of like the same strategy-wise, and they kind of cancel each other out, so they knew they had to get one of them out, so that way at the end, one of them would have a better shot to win the title and the $1 million prize. So at Tribal Council, there was a tie, and so at a tie in the Final Four, they go to a fire-making challenge. So Sydney and Aubrey battled it out making fire, and then in the end, Aubrey ended up making the fire fast enough to burn the rope and have the flag drop, or whatever it's called. And so Sydney was sent home, and I was bummed because Sydney was like a hardcore player this whole season. Like if I could pick the people it should have been, it definitely should have been Sydney, Aubrey, and Ty in the finals. So they go back to camp, and they think they're the final three because usually on Survivor there's a final three instead of a final two, even though there used to be a final two, and every so often they throw in the twist where it is the final two. And so they get a tree mail about another challenge, and they're like, oh my gosh, do we have to go through this whole thing again? Is it a final two? What's going on? They're all nervous. They go to the challenge, and Jeff tells them that they are the final three and will be pleading their case in front of the jury, so they're all happy, but they're like, what is this challenge about? So the challenge is the last twist of the game, and whoever wins this challenge gets to vote off one of the jury members. So that's like crazy to think about because the jury ultimately votes who the winner is. So if I were to win the challenge, I could pick someone who I know is a guaranteed vote for my biggest competitor, and then I could help me win $1 million. So winning this challenge could ultimately help you win $1 million. Like it was just like, why didn't they do this twist earlier? It's great. And the jury has no idea about this. So, and they find out at Tribal Council. So what the challenge was the very first episode, there was a puzzle that they had to do, or not a puzzle, it was like a balancing thing. They had an option to do a puzzle or this balancing of these balls. And so they brought back the balancing of the balls because this was day one, nobody did it. So this will be your last challenge. And so everything comes full circle.
And so they're doing it, and then Michelle won the advantage. So Michelle is just like winning all these challenges now. So she's looking like a physical threat as well as being very sociable. And they were back at camp now, and they're trying to figure out who to vote out. And it's kind of obvious that Joe and Neil are big votes for Aubrey because they were her number one ally throughout this entire game. And so at Tribal Council, the jury realizes there's no necklace, and they're like, what's going on? How's this going to work out? And then Michelle reads to them that it is one of them going to be voted out tonight. And she goes and casts the vote, and she voted out Neil, who has a vote for Aubrey. And he was the first member of the jury. So, I mean, if she was going to play that card, she was like, he was the first person to be voted out, blah, blah, blah. But she just did it because he was a guaranteed vote for Aubrey. And then as he left, he was like, you are a little girl, Michelle. You don't have a shot at hell at winning this thing. He like bullied her a little bit. And I was just like, ooh, Neil, that's not good to do. Because he was super bitter. So at the final Tribal Council, we're down to Ty, Aubrey, and Michelle. And people were pretty heated about it. Oh, and I have to mention, Ty brought Mark the chicken. And he just loves his chicken. He got it on day one because they could take stuff off the boat. And he just kept his chicken alive. And it was like a pet. And it was just kind of really funny that this chicken made it all these days and would stay around camp and hang out with Ty. And then Ty brought him to Tribal Council, and he just hung out with Mark the Chicken all night. So at Tribal Council, the jury gets to address the final three for the first time since being voted out, ask them questions. Nothing big really happened. It was just all kind of the same thing, except the part that I found interesting was Scott was the bully most of the season, him and Jason. And he was like a big supporter of Michelle. He was like, Michelle did this great. She fought for it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is what is happening. Aubrey is going to lose to Michelle. And this is Aubrey's season to win. And they're going to be a bitter jury, and they're going to give it to Michelle, kind of like how Russell lost to Natalie in Samoa. And although Russell was like pretty brutal about his stuff, Aubrey like was nice and like made connections with people. So she played like not a Russell game, but she played like a hard game while making connections that should be rewarded. And Michelle kind of was just lucky half of the time and getting to the finals. But she did make some moves, so in the end, I felt like she doesn't deserve the win as much as Aubrey. Like, Aubrey deserves this win more. Ty still did a lot of stuff, and so I feel like he even deserved it more than Michelle. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? I was super nervous. And they said goodbye to Mark the Chicken when the votes were cast. So for the reading of the votes, they actually go back to Los Angeles. So these castaways filmed this last summer, and they have to wait like 6-8 months for the show to even air, and then another 2 months while the show is on to find out who wins. So it's been like almost a year since Michelle, Aubrey, and Ty left the island and have been like wondering who won this $1 million prize. And they're reading the votes, and by a vote of 5-2, the winner of Survivor, Brains, Brawn, and Beauty is Michelle. So Michelle won. I don't want to say she deserved it the most, but she is deserving of it. It's just so heartbreaking for me because it was like Aubrey's season, this whole thing, and she didn't get it in the end. And it's just really heartbreaking to me because I just hope she gets out. I feel so bad for her because she just deserved it. And I'm trying to remember, I feel like she was one of my picks on my podcast when it first started. I was like, she likes crayons. She's very crafty. I like her. I don't remember if I said she would be, I think I said she would either be a first boot, which she almost was, or she would make it to the end. And, it's just so sad. And then one other thing that Jeff mentioned is he loves Sydney, and he hopes Sydney would come back again for another season. And I would just love to see Sydney and Aubrey back again. Probably not the same season because they would be targets right away. But I feel like I would love to see Aubrey and Sydney back again. Ty would be great to come back. And I would also love Debbie. Like, she is just so weird. But I don't know that they'll give Debbie another shot for a while. But yeah, so now that Survivor and RuPaul's Drag Race are done, now I just get to recap Dancing with the Stars next week. And then we're done with season 2 of My Reality Recap. So you guys need to send me some ideas as to what you want me to talk about, but I will tease you all and say I will be making an announcement that I am going to be doing in the next podcast episode of the finale of My Reality Recap Season 2. So I want to thank you all so much again for listening to this podcast, and I want to thank Harb for joining me for most of it. If you like what you heard today, please click that subscribe button and give this podcast a 5-star rating. That'll make me feel really good inside. And I want to keep the conversation going with all of you at all times. Tweet me at Michael with a Y or hashtag MYRR to let me know all of your thoughts and feelings about the shows we talked about today or which shows you want me to talk about in the future. You can follow me on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Michael with a Y, and that is spelled exactly as it is on here. Don't forget to smile, and remember, glasses are sexy.